Bueno, pues buenas noches, buenas tardes, bienvenidos todos. Esta es la última sección del programa que dedicamos el día de hoy a Leonardo Laser Talks México. Este es el primer nodo que tenemos en un país de habla hispana, lo más que sabemos, y que en este caso nos va a permitir crear nuestra red de nodos de instituciones, en este caso la UAM con sus campuses en el espacio de artes, ciencias, humanidades y ciudadanía. Nos da muchísimo gusto poder presentar a Daniel Simbieda. Ella es la Managing Director de Leonardo. Leonardo no es nada más una revista que tiene 51 años de estar siendo publicada y que ha sido pionera porque ha tratado el tema del arte y la ciencia, ha invitado a artistas a hablar de su trabajo, ha invitado a científicos a hablar de este trabajo transdisciplinar, sino que también es la Sociedad Internacional para las Artes, las Ciencias y la Tecnología. Entonces yo quisiera dejar la palabra a Daniel, que viene específicamente para este espacio inaugural a que nos hable acerca de lo que es el proyecto Leonardo, de lo que están haciendo y de las posibilidades que podemos ver de colaboración. Buenas noches, muchas gracias.
Buenas noches, gracias. Thank you for having me. I have so much admiration for everybody who has been on the panel tonight. It just was an amazing first launch of the first Laser Talk Mexico City. I'm very impressed with all of the research that everyone's putting forward from the work that's come forward in terms of technology and theory and what's possible. And that's really about what we're doing here to bring things together. And I wanted to thank Hernando and Luz again for organizing the Laser Talks. I think this is a really fabulous start. How's everyone else in the audience? ¿Cómo están? You guys need a stretch break? Okay, you want to stretch? You know, can we have a big community stretch? Okay, está bien. All right, can we get the PowerPoint on the screen? Gracias. Me llamo Daniela Simbieda. As she mentioned, I'm the managing director of Leonardo. I'm going to speak in English. I'll try to slow down. Usually I'm a fast talker. Just raise your hand if I'm speaking too fast so that I know that I need to hacer más despacio. Lo puedo hablar español, pero no perfecto, okay? So, really what we are is the International Society for the Arts, Sciences, and Technology. Although the name Leonardo is up there, we're more of what's below. And there's two words I want to emphasize here. International, we are not place-based. We are all over the globe. And I'll talk a little bit about that during the presentation. And society, we're not necessarily a membership society, but we are a network of villages. We are comprised of communities from around the world who really actually deeply care about transdisciplinary practice, about solving global problems, about connecting with each other, whether you're in DF or you're in Brisbane, New York City, or in Colombia. We're about connecting the international network, and that's really where I want all of you to think about us as. Now, how did we come about? How many of you know about rockets? A little bit, right? You know about rocket fuel? Well, our founder, Frank Molina, was one of the first people who was on the patent to create rocket fuel, what goes up in that we still use today to go into outer space. And he started the Jet Propulsion Laboratory along with Jack Parsons and what's called the Suicide Squad in the early 1930s into 40s. Long story short, he was pushed out of the U.S. during the communist scare and moved to Paris and opened a telescope. During that time, this astrophysicist and kinetic artist found it really critical that the dialogue between artists and scientists and engineers and mathematicians needed to continue in a really critical way. Now, think about the 1960s. What was the way that people communicated back then? right? Mostly, yeah, some telephone, but primarily, you know, through written text, right? So through print. Thus, the Leonardo Journal was born as the primary way that people around the world were able to communicate. So he communicated with people like Buckminster Fuller and Frank Oppenheimer and other scholars all around the world, but started the journal out of Europe in Paris. Fast forward to today, we actually have quite a few publications, and I'll talk a little bit more about what those are and how those are growing. But some of the people know us by our primary publications. The Leonardo Journal, which is in now its 51st year. I think the first publication was 1968. And then Leonardo Music Journal, which is around 22 years old. It's a journal that publishes around sound, acoustics, sound theory. And then we also have a book series. These are all that's in print, and our publisher is MIT Press. We also have a lot of publications that are online and are produced by volunteer editors. Leonardo Electronic Almanac that comes out once or twice a year. That's all digital. Leonardo Abstract Services. Do we have any graduate students here? Any PhDs? All right, for my PhDs, masters. Okay, for all those who are finished or have recently finished their graduate studies, you can actually submit your abstract thesis to Leonardo, and that gets put into a directory that people can search, and certain ones of those theses get selected to be published in the journal and then elaborated on as well. Every month we have reviews. These are the most critical reviews that you could probably find. They are definitely not 5-star reviews like they have on Amazon. They don't have any fancy pictures. These are extremely serious reviews of exhibitions, of books, of publications, festivals that are conducted all over the world by a selected number of reviewers and published on a monthly basis. And then we have a French sister organization, OLATS, that does some of our publications in French. And all of these are available online. And then I want to talk to you a little bit more about programs, because that's the area that I actually run. So our programs are important to us because this is how we make connections matter. So our fastest growing and most important program are our international speaker series, Leonardo Art Science Evening Rendezvous. What you just experienced was a laser talk, but these laser talks come in different flavors and different sizes all over the world. We are now at 40 cities internationally. We are welcoming Mexico City and DF into this. We are so excited to have you launch this in this region. This is very important to us. Our Laser Talk hosts communicate with each other through quarterly conferences on Zoom, and then every once in a while we get to meet in person. And this is a way that we're able to support our community nodes and leadership around the world to really foster that transdisciplinary practice in communities where you live. And we do this in a way that's decentralized. We create it in a way that we co-brand it together, but most importantly that we help your community thrive in this particular mission of really creating a better world. So here's just a couple pictures from other laser talks. Some are done in people's studios or over dinner or in large 200-seat formalized production areas like in Washington, D.C. It's very different everywhere you go. We also have an educators forum, and this is also something I'm welcoming you to join. This is where we meet together at conferences around the world. Most of those who work in academia, how many of you have gone to at least one conference this year? A conference or a festival? Okay, 2 conferences. 3 conferences? 4, okay. So often I hear, oh, I'm sorry, I'm flying to this conference or this festival or this symposium. Well, when that happens, our LEAF community gets together and they help create panels and connect around how educators can help each other and support your curriculum and support the understanding of what you're teaching at these local communities and also online. So there's a leader that gets selected every couple of years that helps lead the forefront in that. Some of our more popular programs are our residency programs. We have 2 artist and scientist residencies. One takes place here at the Jara Resident Artist Program in the Santa Cruz Mountains on 500 acres of land that overlooks the sea and has its own redwood grove. We select 6 scientists and 6 artists to live together for 1 month out of the year. This is our most competitive program, but it's been going on for 6 years, and as a result, we've seen a lot of collaboration come out of that. One of the other programs that we have in residence that we launched this year is a corporate residency with Nokia Bell Labs, where an artist is placed at the Bell Labs engineering site in Silicon Valley and gets to work with the engineers and create one of their own projects. And this is also something that we work with Bell Labs on to make sure the artist actually really has that ability to foster their own projects and their own work. This is something we're also expanding worldwide, is where we have our residencies. We'll be talking about those another year, but we'll actually put that forward in the next few years as some of our initiatives. How do we do everything? Well, we don't do anything by ourselves. That's sort of the first role. Everything is done with partnerships. We don't really believe that we should be the ones that are leading things forward. We're the ones who prop things up. So we work with scholars, theorists, change makers, universities, labs, artists all around the world, government agencies to make this happen. So what does this mean for our future? What is Leonardo's future going to look like? Well, this year we've partnered with the largest research university in the US and actually maybe the world, Arizona State University. They're #1 in innovation, even in front of Harvard and Stanford. And they have a transdisciplinary model university-wide. So we are actually working with them to assure that through every department around the university that we can help prop up the transdisciplinary art and science research. And through that, we have a lot of new initiatives that we'll be announcing in the future. And we've opened up a satellite office at Arizona State University. Some of the areas that we're looking at focusing on is how do we address issues of consciousness like artificial intelligence, neuroscience, what happens with the brain, neural networks, deep learning, space, aeronautics, biodesign, bioengineering. How are we fitting into that? How are our artists who are doing research addressing these 3 topics? This is something that we're addressing our impact on over the next year. And now I want to talk to you a little bit about the future of our publishing. This is one of the reasons that I'm here. So I have this journal here. This is a copy of our April issue of Leonardo journal. And this year, what we decided to do was to publish our very first ever editorial in the journal, just in Spanish. And I have a copy of the editorial. Ryszard, could you grab this and pass it around? And one of the reasons that we decided to do this is one of the things that we have thought about quite a bit is English is not everyone's primary language. Obviously, I'm in Mexico. Hardly anybody speaks English. A lot of people speak English, but it's not your first language, right? So that's important to understand. And people's important ideas don't come natively in English. So that means they don't translate natively into English. So what we're missing on is brilliant teams of geniuses, ideas, innovation, just because of the way that we work. We work in English. This is not how we should be working. We should be working in multilingual publishing and creating opportunities like laser talks in other people's languages. We have partnered with Creative Disturbance for podcasts in multiple languages. And we are working with Luz and other partners to start actually our first publication in Spanish, hopefully by the end of next year or the beginning of 2021, funding dependent. We started to publish in Mandarin. So we've already done some work and translation with Tsinghua University. And with their design journal, started publishing Leonardo articles in Mandarin there. And we also are going to be working with Nanjing University to also publish in Mandarin. So the hope is that we'll be able to also bring in work that is done in other languages into the journal, whether or not they're published in English or in another language. But we're trying to make sure that when we talk about elevating important ideas, that we're not doing it from just a really Western point of view, that we're also really being able to make sure that those ideas are being honored in the format, in the origin in which they were discovered. So this is something that I'm inviting all of you to share in this journey on, and share your ideas on this and how we can support multilingual publishing. So I'm going to end on this slide because I know I only had 15 minutes. Or actually, I have one more slide after this. As a network and networks, I'm sending this as an invitation to all of you. Okay, we invite you to come along with us on a journey of rediscovery and reinvention. We are looking at how do we evaluate ourselves with our international community. How do we approach all of our programs and our publications in a way that's equitable for everyone, and how can we do this best to serve you? And this is how we're designing our future, is with you in mind. So here's some very basic ways to get involved. We put out every single month ways to publish, calls, opportunities, lots of news, all of our laser talks in our newsletter. It's a great newsletter full of stuff. We have an opportunities hub online that has a lot of this in there as well. We have an electronic directory where people list who they are and they're able to discover people who have common interests. We have our educators forum that you can join. You could submit a paper or a thesis. You could become a reviewer. You could present or attend a laser talk. You can apply to be a resident, one of our programs. And you can, if you are with a university or an institution, become an institutional member, or you can subscribe to the journal. These are just a few ways that you can get involved. But most importantly, reach out to us. Show up, discover, explore, ask us hard questions. We don't mind it. We're about that. We start deep in that dialogue, and we invite you to connect with us in that way. So thank you all very much for a really great evening, and thanks to all of the media tech who really did an amazing job producing this event, and to all of the partners here. I want to let everyone who's helped make this possible, that we are noticing this and we are happy to connect and collaborate with you in the future. So again, extending my thoughts of gratitude to all of you, and feel free to reach out. Thank you. Oh, and follow us online on social media, and a lot of this information is on our website, leonardo.info. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Danielle. We tried to sneak in with this. Queríamos meter estos 15 minutitos para que fuera ella la que hiciera la presentación del proyecto Leonardo. Nosotros, como dije al principio, tanto Juan Carlos Martínez García como yo, hemos estado tratando de llevar esta posibilidad de ser una red de redes con otros colegas de arte y ciencia, otras instituciones, con alumnos, con artistas, y creo que pues estamos iniciando. Se dice fácil, el Leonardo 50 México fue el año pasado en abril, el 19 de abril, lo que nos llevó casi un año previo de trabajo. O sea, estamos hablando que desde el 2017 hemos estado tratando de hacer distintas sinergias. Estamos muy interesados en el proyecto que Roger Malina llama The Anglicize Leonardo. Estamos convencidos de que tiene que hacerse de esa manera, y creo que este tipo de colaboración de manera horizontal nos fortalece a todos, y el hecho es de que estamos aquí con un proyecto que se llama Artes, Ciencias, Humanidades y Ciudadanía, que también inició un poco a partir de esta serie como de nodos que tenemos en la misma Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana. Entonces nos da muchísimo gusto poder ser parte de esta reflexión, porque yo creo que lo más interesante del equipo de Leonardo es que podemos switchar el back, por favor. Lo más interesante del equipo de Leonardo que hemos aprendido es estarse cuestionando los formatos, estarse cuestionando las redes, hasta dónde están llegando las redes, cómo podemos hacer para que esas redes no se anquilosen, no sean las mismas personas. Era un poco lo que hablábamos esta mañana en la Red de Ecología Acústica México. Cómo podemos hacer para que haya realmente aquellos académicos y artistas que están un poquito más posicionados también se puedan convertir en una plataforma para aquellos jóvenes artistas y jóvenes académicos que están empezando. Yo creo que tiene que ver con este trabajo horizontal, pero siempre pensando en que tenemos que llegar a buen puerto todos. Yo creo que eso es lo más importante, y creo que esa es la parte de la filosofía que nos interesa mucho de las redes Leonardo, y de las cuales estamos aprendiendo a marchas forzadas, pero muy, muy, muy contentos. Entonces yo quisiera agradecerte nuevamente que estés aquí. Tenemos todavía un día más, medio día más para trabajar un poco nosotros contigo, y eso nos da mucho gusto. Los alumnos de la licenciatura de Arte y Comunicación Digitales se tuvieron que retirar porque algunos de ellos viven afuera de la ciudad, en Lerma. Los que se quedan, que sí los estoy viendo aquí, son los que están ayudando a la producción, se quedan en la Ciudad de México, pero aquellos otros tuvieron que retirarse. Por eso hicimos el cambio en el programa, para que pudieran ellos realmente saber que era, ¿no?, estar en la experiencia del Laser Talk. Creo que eso era lo más importante, que ellos vieran y se entusiasmaran. Muchas preguntas salieron justamente de este grupo de jóvenes estudiantes. Entonces, yo les quisiera agradecer a todos. Al equipo, tenemos que agradecer al equipo de Fonoteca, por supuesto, que han sido maravillosos en su trabajo con nosotros. Omar Campos, que es el productor, Oriana Hernández, también productora, Sibel González, asistente de producción, Rubén Olvera, ingeniero en sonido, Edgardo Ruiz es ingeniero en sonido también, Omar Belmont, asistente en producción, Eric Arano, encargado de redes sociales, Kevin Aragón, encargado de difusión en medios de comunicación, Valentina López, jefa de área de difusión y promoción del sonido, y bueno, Emiliano Mora, que fue uno de los que estuvo con nosotros en el arranque, pues él es también el jefe, el director de promoción y sonido. Y por supuesto que a Pavel Granados, al director de la Fonoteca Nacional, le estamos muy agradecidos por habernos recibido. El comité de Laser Talks México lo pueden encontrar en línea. Sin embargo, me gustaría mencionar a Alejandra Osorio Olave, con quien podremos hablar el día de mañana, que ella es la directora de actividades académicas y culturales de la Coordinación de Difusión de la UAM, Fernando Monreal, que es de la Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana Lerma, Fausto Rodríguez de la Unidad Azcapotzalco de la UAM Lerma. Tenemos a Reinaldo Thompson, que él es de la Universidad de Guanajuato, pero está haciendo su sabático, lo decidió hacer como profesor visitante con nosotros. Y Leonardo también es, Reinaldo, perdón, es un viejo amigo del grupo Leonardo. De hecho, ha publicado mucho en el blog que ustedes tienen. Quisiera agradecer también a Juan Carlos Martínez García del programa de Arte y Complejidad del Centro de Ciencias de la Complejidad, y a Tito Rivas, que se tuvo que retirar de la UNAM, y también del Instituto Nacional de Bellas Artes. Ellos conforman este comité científico que se estructuró para este evento. Y también comentar todo lo que se está transmitiendo y se está creando un archivo, porque también nosotros creemos mucho en la necesidad de empezar a documentar y archivar todo lo que se está realizando en el ámbito de la arte y ciencia, está siendo transmitido en el canal de YouTube ACHC, pero que todo el trabajo lo están haciendo los alumnos y exalumnos de la carrera de comunicación, de arte y comunicación digitales de la UAM Lerma. Yo quisiera agradecer muchísimo al público. A partir de mañana a las 10 de la mañana ya es el último segmento de la semana de las primeras jornadas de arte, ciencia y humanidades y ciudadanía, en donde se abre el espacio para el segundo coloquio internacional Espacio Inmersividad, que eso es un coloquio organizado. El director del coloquio es Edmar Soria, que forma parte del Departamento de Artes y Humanidades. El jefe del departamento es Hugo Solís, y que es resultado del trabajo que están realizando en esa área de investigación. El área de investigación, para los que nos han seguido, es la de práctica como investigación en las artes, transdisciplina y sonido de la UAM Lerma, del Departamento de Artes y Humanidades, y que para los que ya nos han escuchado, pues está conformada básicamente por creadores que hacen investigación utilizando la práctica artística como una metodología, lo que es novedoso para nuestra casa de estudios, y que estamos muy contentos que estas jornadas de alguna manera hayan estado lideradas por distintas personas de este departamento y de esta área de investigación. Quisiera agradecer a los invitados especiales que hicieron un gran esfuerzo en venir. Esta parte que estamos tratando de articular también incluye el esfuerzo de las instituciones de donde ellos vienen para hacerlos llegar. Es decir, estamos tratando de que no sea siempre un desgaste económico de parte de las universidades públicas mexicanas por traer invitados de primer nivel, sino que esos invitados de primer nivel vean la pertinencia de poder colaborar en este diálogo. Es el caso de Ryszard Kluszczyński, por ejemplo, es el caso de Jordan Lacey, es el caso de Eric Leonardson, que ellos mismos a través de sus instituciones vienen sin que se tenga que haber un sangrado de las universidades públicas, que ya sabemos que no estamos muy bien, y esperemos que sigamos más como estamos hasta ahorita. Entonces, bueno, un agradecimiento a todos. Yo estoy contenta y quisiera como externar ese gozo a todos los que participaron, porque sí es un esfuerzo de todos. Y muchísimas gracias, buenas noches.
Thank you.